By October 27, 1939, Nazi Germany was deepening its control over annexed territories while preparing for future military actions. With Poland divided between Germany and the Soviet Union, both powers focused on consolidating their occupations and restructuring local governments to serve their broader wartime goals. Diplomatic maneuvering also intensified as neutral countries sought to preserve their autonomy in the face of expanding Axis influence. Military events. Reorganizing occupied Poland. On this day, the Nazi regime further solidified its occupation in Poland by continuing the process of annexation that had begun just days earlier. Key Polish territories, Poznan, Upper Silesia, West Prussia, and parts of Lodz, were absorbed into the German Reich, while the rest of German-occupied Poland was restructured under the general government, headed by Hans Frank. This administrative unit would govern the unincorporated Polish territories, and its role was critical in implementing Nazi policies aimed at exploiting Poland's resources and suppressing resistance. The forced labor decrees enacted earlier in the month were expanded, and Polish civilians, particularly Jews, began to be systematically targeted for exploitation under these new laws. While there were no large-scale military clashes on this day, the German army continued its logistical movements to reposition forces for future offensives. The focus remained on consolidating territorial control rather than engaging in direct combat. Diplomatic and geopolitical developments. Nazi-Soviet tensions and neutral countries. On the diplomatic front, the day was marked by growing tensions between Nazi Germany and the Soviet Union. Although the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact had divided Poland between the two powers, underlying frictions began to emerge over their differing long-term goals in Eastern Europe. Both sides were using their influence to shape the geopolitical landscape, with the Soviet Union expanding its control in the Baltic region and Nazi Germany solidifying its dominance in the West. Neutral countries like Sweden and Norway continued their delicate balancing act, maintaining official neutrality while carefully observing the growing Axis power in Europe. Romania, rich in oil and strategically important, was increasingly being courted by Germany, as Hitler sought to secure essential resources for his war machine. The wider implications of this courtship would soon push Romania closer to the Axis orbit, setting the stage for future military and political developments. International reactions and media coverage. Internationally, the annexation of Polish territories and the deepening occupation were widely reported. In Britain, the Times highlighted the administrative changes in Poland, focusing on the implications for Polish citizens now living under harsh Nazi rule. The British public, already galvanized by Germany's aggressive actions, reacted with growing calls for the government to increase its military preparations. Newspapers also emphasized the potential impact of Nazi policies on Jews and other minority groups within occupied territories, foreshadowing the atrocities that would follow in later years. In the United States, the New York Times echoed similar concerns, particularly regarding the forced labor decrees and Nazi occupation policies. Isolationist sentiment remained strong, but there was a growing sense that America's position of neutrality might soon be untenable, especially as the situation in Europe continued to deteriorate. Projections. The long-term impact of October 27th. The actions taken by Nazi Germany on October 27, 1939, had long-lasting repercussions. The annexation of Polish territories marked the formal beginning of a harsh occupation that would devastate the Polish population and contribute to the broader objectives of the Nazi regime. The increasing tensions between Germany and the Soviet Union, though not yet explosive, would eventually lead to the breaking of their non-aggression pact, resulting in one of the most significant military campaigns of the war. For now, the reorganization of Poland under Nazi rule represented a critical step in Germany's long-term strategy for European dominance.